take on the Mariners next. Summer is winding down in Toronto. The Blue Jays are back at Rogers Center, the final homestand of the season. Seattle's in town for the first of 3 games to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Hello, everybody. I'm Buck Martinez along with Rance Mullinex. And Rance, Jose Bautista's had a terrific season. He's 1 home run shy of 50 for the year. And the biggest thing about Bautista is his turnaround from one year to the next has been one of the best turnarounds in the history of the game.
Second only to Davey Johnson. You go back to the early 70s. Davey Johnson from 72 to 73 was plus 38. He had 38 more home runs in 73 than he did in 72. So far this year, Bautista plus 36 and counting. With 3 more, he'll establish a new major league mark.
There's a couple of great milestones on the line here during this series. 50 home runs for Bautista, 200 hits for each hero. He has 193 hits now, and if he attains that 200-hit plateau, he will establish a new record, 10 consecutive 200-hit seasons.
And he will also, if he leads the American League in hits again this season, it'll be 5 seasons in a row that he has accomplished that feat. He will have also, at that point, led his league in total hits 7 times. He's in some very elite company, Pete Rose, Ty Cobb.
Should be a very interesting series tonight. Another great piece of news, Aaron Hill is back in the lineup tonight after missing a couple of games in Boston. For more on that, let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
Buck, Aaron Hill was hit on that right wrist on Friday night against John Lackey in Boston. He missed Saturday and Sunday's game, had an off day to recoup yesterday, and is back in the lineup here tonight. He'd like to take that 211 average and just throw it aside, focus a little more on the production numbers. I asked him about this before the game here today.
I'd like to think so, but it's one of those things where you go out and just keep going. I mean, I've been saying all year it's been tough, but it's one of those things you just got to keep going no matter what. Like you said, you finish strong, finish on a good note, and just have some fun while we're here in Toronto next few days.
Ichiro Suzuki is a magician with a bat in his hand, going after another 200-hit season. Jose Bautista is trying to accomplish a 50-home run season. 2 great milestones at stake here at Rogers Center in the next 3 games.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Blue Jays and Mariners meet for just the second time this year. Blue Jays split the 2 games out in Seattle earlier in the season. This is the 3-game set. Both of these teams are really different in how you look at their offense. Blue Jays have power. Seattle has speed. What you'd like is a marriage of these 2 offenses and come up with the perfect fit.
Well, in a perfect world, that's what you would get. Great team speed combined with outstanding power, and that's clearly the 2 significant differences in these 2 ball clubs.
Blue Jays would love to have some of the Mariners' speed, and Mariners would love to have some of the Blue Jays' power. Aaron Brown, the manager for the Mariners, took over for Don Wakamatsu when he was let go, and they have turned things over a bit here in Seattle. Lineup, one familiar thing, top of the order is Ichiro Suzuki. Sean Figgins, a free agent signed in the offseason with the Angels. He leads the team in September. He and Ichiro have been hot during the month of September. Figgins, a great complimentary player, came through the Angel system and played on that World Series team in 2002. Got a chance to go test the free agent market and ended up in Seattle. Lopez, Smoke, Longerhans, middle of the order. Adam Moore's the catcher. Michael Saunders, Tuiasa Sopo, and Josh Wilson, the shortstop.
And they will face Mark Zebchinski, coming off a pretty good outing in his last start in Baltimore. He went 5 innings, 6 hits, gave up just 2 earned runs, but overall, especially in his last 6 games, he has really struggled. 1-4 with a 6.15, and control will be a key for him this evening. 45 1/3. You see, he has walked 22, and when you're not overpowering, you cannot do that.
Mark Zebchinski needs his defense behind him. If he's good, he's going to have a lot of ground balls. The Blue Jays have committed just 83 errors this season. That's the 4th best number in the American League. Snyder, Wells, and Bautista in the outfield. Escobar and Hill up the middle. John McDonald gets a start at third base tonight. Lyle Overbays at first. John Buck will team up with Mark Zebchinski and try to get Zep a little bit deeper into this ball game here tonight.
And John Buck has really done a nice job defensively. He has a very quick release, strong arm. He has excellent feel for the game, and you can't say enough about the job he has done working with this young pitching staff and bringing them along this season.
He is going to be a tough guy to replace if he chooses to go on the free agent market. Ichiro Suzuki, he will shorten up the defense dramatically. Doesn't bunt as much as he did early in his career, but he's hit well against the Blue Jays. A .345 average. Fastball inside. Ichiro has a terrific eye and great balance. Phenomenal hand-eye coordination. Gets back on that back leg and just waits for the ball to get into that hitting zone.
And for a leadoff hitter, he doesn't walk an awful lot. In 621 at-bats, he's walked just 42 times. But, of course, he makes that up with that. Makes up for that with that base hit total, which is way up there every season. Still has a pretty good on-base percentage coming into the ballgame tonight, .357.
Now, Ichiro doesn't have much time to get walks. He's always getting base hits. Averaging about 230 hits a year since he's come over from Japan. 1-2 from Zebchinski. Breaking ball right through the hole. It's short. If that's not a patented Ichiro hit, I've never seen one.
Has an uncanny ability, I should say, to do this right here. Just keep his hands back. No matter what the lower half is doing, those hands stay back. And great hand-eye coordination.
194 hits now for Ichiro Suzuki, and Lyle Overbays probably ask him, how do you do that? One on, nobody out. Sean Figgins, the second baseman. Figgins, a switch hitter. Ichiro will run. 41 of 50 this year. Figgins understands that. He can run as well. And he will let Ichiro have a pitch or two, I'm sure. He's been hot. He, like Ichiro, has swung the bat well in September. Off the glove, Ichiro will move up.
Well, and that's what speed will do. It changes things. It's a distraction for the pitcher, and sometimes it is for the catcher as well. Although this was a tough chance for Buck. This may be a result of Zebchinski trying to speed things up a little bit. Doesn't get through that pitch. It's well up and away.
Pass ball charge to John Buck. Ball kicked off his glove. Ichiro with his great speed now in scoring position.
And this is where Sean Figgins oftentimes will bunt and try to bunt for a base hit. In the event that he doesn't reach successfully, he moves that runner along to third base. Probably has more confidence in himself to do that as opposed to try to hit that ball to the right side.
That's all managers want you to do, is advance that runner at a minimum over to third base. And if you're better off bunting, you feel more comfortable doing that, they'll give you the go-ahead. Ball and a strike to Figgins. Shows a bunt this time to third. John McDonald in time, and Figgins gets the job done. Ichiro moves to third.
The scouting report brought to you by TD. Banking can be this comfortable. Mark Zebchinski not overpowering, a sinking fastball, 86 to 89. Curve and change, and the key for him tonight is he has to keep the ball down in the strike zone, rely heavily on his sinking fastball, and use it to both sides of the plate.
There's a good breaking ball. He gets ahead of Jose Lopez. Lopez is the DH tonight. Inside out, that'll get down for a base hit. Ichiro would jog home with the first run of the game. Lopez just served it in front of Jose Bautista. That pass ball proves costly.
A good execution, and give Figgins a lot of credit. He moved the runner along when the opportunity presented itself. And this last fastball, again, it's up a little bit and not down. If that's down, maybe you get the ground ball. That allowed Lopez to just kind of keep his hands inside it. The ball jammed him a little bit, but he dumps it into right field.
51 RBI for Jose Lopez now. Justin Smoke, the young first baseman, cuts on the first pitch and fouls it out of play. Smoke came from the Texas Rangers. He was involved in a Cliff Lee deal, and Texas was in a position to go out and add some depth to their rotation, get a front-end rotation pitcher like Cliff Lee, and Seattle was able to attain a very good prospect. On the ground, McDonald. Hill at second. No throw to first. Hill didn't have a grip on the ball. He had time to turn the double play, but once he went into the glove for the baseball, he didn't have a good grip and couldn't make a throw.
No, it's a nice job by John McDonald going to his right. He gets rid of this ball very quickly, and it's a perfect throw. Hits Hill right in the chest, but right here, he just didn't have a good grip on it, and probably a wise decision to not go ahead and try to make the throw. Oftentimes, that'll lead to an errant throw, allow a runner to move into scoring position, but a double play that should have been turned.
Brian Langerhans, the left-hander now.
You're talking about Smoke. That's when you get into a position where you have a chance to win. That's the types of things you can do. You can trade a prospect for a pitcher like Lee, get you over the hump, get you into postseason. If you get to postseason, anything can happen.
Nobody will be concerned about giving up Justin Smoke if you win the World Series. Certainly with C.J. Wilson and Cliff Lee at the front of the rotation, Texas Rangers improved their chances dramatically with that trade. 2-0 to Brian Langerhans. There's a strike. Mariners have taken a 1-0 lead here in the first. RBI single by Jose Lopez. Scored Ichiro Suzuki, who singled to start the game. Bounce towards second. Big hop for Aaron Hill, and the Mariners are retired in the first. But the Mariners get out in front. They score a single run. Jose Bautista will bat third, looking for home run number 50. Fly ball deep left field. Jose Bautista. 48 for Bautista. He has just set a new Blue Jays franchise record. Jose Bautista, 48th home run, establishing a new franchise record for home runs in a season. Hit 2 home runs over the weekend against the Red Sox. Now he has 49, and Travis Snyder's just robbed of a base hit. Sean Figgins with a good play to start the game for the Mariners. Snyder, Escobar, and Bautista. Jose Bautista has 2 home runs in 13 career games against the Mariners. He's the only Blue Jay to hit a home run against Seattle this season. Blue Jays have only hit 1 home run. Mind you, they've only played 2 games. So Bautista continues to hit home runs just about against everybody, and he's had a big season, obviously, looking for 1 more dramatic home run. Junel Escobar up to 298. Been swinging a hot bat of late. Pops this one up. Right field. Ichiro looked like he had a little trouble initially, but he found the ball and makes an easy catch. 2 outs.
Right fielder, number 19, Jose Bautista.
Jose Bautista with 49 home runs. Luke French misses down and in. He's hit 30 of those home runs right here at Rogers Center.
Well, you could see the difference already. The first couple of hitters, Luke French, he was challenging, going right after the fastball. First pitch is a little breaking ball down and in. Next pitch is a changeup down and away. Another another changeup, and that's, we've talked about it in the pregame show. That's something that he has seen a lot of as of late.
Bullet into left field, base hit. Bautista is also getting his base hits and taking his walks.
But he's done a great job of laying off that off-speed stuff, and when he gets his fastball, he's hitting it. Here's a look at the overall numbers coming into the start this evening for Luke French. He's 4-5 on the season, a 4.02 in 13 games. 71 2/3 innings of work, 65 hits. He's walked just 23, so pretty good command for a young arm.
Luke French came from the Detroit Tigers last July in a deal that sent the left-hander Jared Washburn to Detroit. Wells looks at an outside fastball.
Well, you can't say enough. Bautista very patient. A lot of hitters oftentimes might have chased one of those off-speed pitches and gotten themselves out. He didn't. He stayed patient. Gets 3-0 and hammers a fastball into left field.
Long drive to left field. Vernon Wells has hit a 2-run homer. Number 28 for Wells, and the Blue Jays have taken the lead.
Here we get another look at this swing from Wells, a fastball right down Broadway. And he gave it a pretty good ride into the second deck. Straight away left field.
2-1 Blue Jays. Bautista got the base hit with 2 outs, and Vernon Wells cashed him in immediately. File Overbay takes a strike. This is the first of a 9-game homestand, last homestand for the Blue Jays. There's going to be a lot of hitters with a tear in their eye when they go away from this ballpark next Wednesday. Ball on the strike to Overbay. Off the plate.
Luke French on the season, he has struggled on the road He's just 1-4 with a 5.67 ERA coming into the ball game tonight at Safeco Field. 3-1 with a 2.58.
This ball's popped up left side over near the wall to Tuiasosopo. It's out of play.
Hey fans, for every home run Toronto hits in tonight's game, you could win Sharp Aqua's products, including a new HD Quatron TV and Blu-ray player. Enter online at hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp Aqua's with Quatron technology. You have to see it to see it.
Vernon Wells, the home run, 129 for the Blue Jays here at Rogers Center this year. Another pop out of play.
And of course, Safeco Field, going back to tonight's starter for the Mariners, Luke French. Very pitcher-friendly ballpark. Pretty good dimensions. The ball doesn't travel well, especially in night games in that ballpark.
Full count, 2 outs. Overbay will take the walk. Safeco Field, without question, one of the best pitcher parks in all of baseball. Felix Hernandez, he can pitch in a closet. Doesn't make any difference for him, but everybody else, it's a nice spot to pitch.
Well, defensively, Lagerhans in left, Saunders in center, Suzuki in right. Tuiasosopo at third, Wilson at short, Figgins at second, Smoke at first, Moore does the catching, and French the pitching this evening. And Ichiro, one of the best outfielders in baseball. There's really nothing he can't do. Not a ball that he can't track down. Has great range and arguably the best throwing arm in baseball. Nobody even really attempts to run on him anymore, and very accurate.
John Buck got on and missed the first pitch. Pretty good off-speed pitch from Luke French. 2-1 Blue Jays. Back out of play. John Buck has tied his career high this season with 18 homers. He's established a new high in RBI. He's driven home 60. And as we mentioned, he will be a free agent at the end of this season. 0-2. He will be a tough guy to replace if he chooses to test the free agent market. He has had a dramatic impact, and he has improved over the course of the season behind the plate. Cued off the end of the bat. Even in Kansas City, when Buck was catching for the Royals, he was thought of as more as an offensive player than a defensive player. But boy, has he turned it around here. I think just being in the company of Jose Molina, they've worked very well together. He's picked up on the coaching staff and the pitching staff very effectively. But the Blue Jays have a top-rated catching prospect waiting in the wings in JP Arancibia. And JP is a guy that's got some pop, had a great year in AAA. 2-2 to Buck. On the ground left side into the outfield. Base hit.
Well, Luke French is a left-hander again, not overpowering. Throws a little bit harder on than Zepchinski would. A fastball 88 to 92, but he'll pitch right around 89, 90 for most of the evening. Solid change and slider to go along with his fastball. Change is his best pitch, and so far, here in the early going, he hasn't been able to throw it for a strike, and he's paid the price.
Look, French is 24 years old. We'd mentioned he was drafted by the Tigers. He was an 8th-round pick of Detroit in 2004. Traded to Seattle in the Jared Washburn deal last summer. Aaron Hill. 2 on, 2 outs. Pops this one up outside of first base. Justin Smoke on the warning track, and Hill's retired. The Blue Jays get 2, but they leave 2. But they have taken the lead. Vernon Wells, a 2-run shot with 2 outs, number 28 on the season. He has given the Blue Jays a 2-1 lead in the first.
Be a most valuable tweeter. Participate and help decide which follower will be tonight's winner. You could also submit questions to Buck and Rance, and we could choose yours as our Twitter questions of the game. Answer Twitter trivia questions, and you could win prizes such as Tweeting Tuesday t-shirts or autographed baseballs.
Top of the second inning. Got more of the catcher will stand in. You can see there's a lot of tough averages in this Mariner lineup. It's been that kind of season for them offensively. As a team, they're last in the American League, hitting .234. Last in runs scored. It's been a very challenging offensive season for Seattle. Sepchinski bounces the breaking ball.
But the good news is their team ERA is 3.86, which is pretty good. And maybe in a situation where if you could add a couple of bats to the lineup, some run producers, you could turn things around fairly quickly.
I think that's one thing we're seeing in general around baseball is they trend back to pitching and defense. You look at the top division teams. New York committed 62 errors, Minnesota 68 errors, Tampa Bay 76 errors. Pitching and defense, that's what wins championships. And this year in baseball, pitcher has really been dominant. There's no question about it. There are 13 teams as we speak that have an ERA under 4. That's impressive just because pitching has once again led the way. Ball was fouled out of play. But Seattle has been offensively challenged. This goes back to last year as well. They had a great year last year, but you can see the Mariners 3.17 runs per game.
All the way back to 1981 when the Jays averaged just a little bit better than 3. So it is an offense that has really lacked. Hey, we talked about they do have some great team speed. They can manufacture runs like they did in the first inning. But you need balance, and that's something that they lack right now.
Full count. Leadoff walk issued by Sepchinski.
Boy, and when you're pitching to a ball club that struggles to score, the last thing you want to do is walk somebody, make them earn it.
To give you an idea how offensively challenged the Mariners are, they are 328 runs behind the Yankees. The Yankees have scored 800 runs. The Mariners have scored 472. Even more significantly, even in their own division, they trail Texas by 256 runs. Too much of a gap. Michael Saunders pops it into foul territory. Overbay can't get to it. But you're right. And if I were going to build a team and I had a black blueprint for a team, it would be pitching and defense, and that's where you'd start. You can compete. Certainly they have the big boy at the front end of the rotation, Felix Hernandez.
But you look at the Rays, you look at the Yankees, and those ball clubs that are going to go to the postseason. And you most certainly, pitching and defense, they pitch very well, they play excellent defensively, and they're very sure they don't make a lot of errors as a team. But they also have the ability to get 2 or 3 runs with one swing of the bat, and that's something that the Mariners don't have. So pitching and defense is where you build the foundation to be a championship team, but then you've got to be able to have some balance up and down your lineup and not just one dimension.
Yep. There's a happy medium somewhere, and you have to find what that is for your club. 0-2. Right to Overbay. Second base to Escobar. Back to first. In time. Toughest double play in baseball. Overbay does it very well. The 3-6-3 double play, just like that. 2 outs here in the second.
Well, the ball was hit very sharply to Overbay, and he has to wait for just a moment to give Escobar a chance to get there. But a perfect throw and a good relay, and Saunders got down that line pretty good to make this bang-bang at first base. It didn't look like at the very beginning of this play that it was going to be that close, but it was very close at first base.
Matt Tuiasosopu, the third baseman. Overbay's got a strong arm, so does Escobar. That's what made that double play possible. Good breaking ball. 0-2. Lots of offers of late. 0 for 12 for Tuiasosopu. 2 outs. Strike 3 call. Good breaking ball gets Zepchinski out of the second. Double play and a strikeout. Blue Jays lead it by 1. Lorraine Kimsa from the Theater for Young People. Friends, courtesy of TD Canada Trust. Welcome to Rogers Center, and great night for baseball. This is the first game of a 9-game homestand to wrap up the home schedule of the 2010 season for the Blue Jays. Edwin Encarnacion, the DH tonight against Luke French, takes a big swing and a miss. Encarnacion with 14 homers. He's 2 for 16 since he came back from the minors after that wrist injury. There's a long drive to left field. This ball is high. This ball is deep. This ball is gone. Home run number 15 for Encarnacion. .130 home runs at Rogers Center.
Looks like a changeup up. He keeps his hands back enough. Very good extension, but he hits the ball very, very high. I wasn't sure if it was going to have the distance, but just out of the reach of the left fielder.
John McDonald drives one to the gap in left field. And Longerhans stabbed at it as Michael Saunders was closing in on him. Encarnacion hits through second. You can see he's talking about the changeup. Hit it one-handed and just got it high and deep enough. Snuck it over the fence in the left field corner. That's what they do. Hit home runs. Back to the top of the order. Travis Snyder hits a line drive to left. Longerhans is there. 2 down.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
3-1 Blue Jays lead. 2 outs, bottom of the second inning. Junel Escobar popped out to right his first time up. There's a long drive to left field. Longerhans back at the track will make the catch. Escobar just a bit short. A quick inning, but it costs the Mariners another run. Toronto leads 3-1 after 2.
Third question of the game, and it's directed at you, Buck. Pat C. asks, with all the excitement of the season so far, what's been your most memorable moment of the 2010 season?
Well, Sammy, there certainly have been many moments, and Bautista's great home run year is one of them. The pitching, I think, has really championed the year for highlight moments. Think back to Ricky Romero's effort against the White Sox, but I'm going to pick Brandon Morrow's 17 strikeout effort. Morrow against Tampa Bay on August 8th. Struck out 17, took a no-hitter into the 9th inning with 2 outs, and just a real cap on a great season for Brandon Morrow. His first year as a starter was that pitching performance against Tampa Bay. Strike 3 called. Josh Wilson goes quickly. First strikeout here in the 3rd. Let's go back to August 8th and look back on Brandon Morrow's great effort against Tampa Bay.
Almost, virtually unhittable. Just a great fastball. The overhang curveball was outstanding. And no better compliment was paid to him after the ball game. Evan Longoria was asked about his performance, and he said, I've never seen anyone have that type of stuff and the ability to finish off hitters like he did against our ball club today.
And Tampa Bay had 2 perfect games thrown against them in the last 2 seasons. Mark Burley and Dallas Braden. But in that effort, Brandon Morrow certainly was dominant. Ichiro makes a bid for another hit. McDonald knocks it down and can't come up with it. John McDonald knew what he was up against. The great speed of Ichiro. He was going to have to be quick. If it gets past him, I don't know if Escobar can throw Ichiro out.
If it gets past John McDonald, probably no chance for Escobar. And because John McDonald knew that you've got to come up very quickly, that forces you to hurry a little bit as an infielder, and you can't quite find the handle on the baseball. I'm not sure that it made any difference.
2 hits for Ichiro. Sean Figgins had a sac bunt his first time up. With that base hit, Ichiro now has 2,225 hits. That ties him with Greg Nettles on the all-time hits leaderboard. They are 164th. They're tied for 164. 2,225 hits. There's a base hit into the gap end right. Bautista gets over to cut it off. Ichiro will have to stop at second.
Well, and Figgins just continues to have an outstanding September. Boy, he's really picked it up. The first couple of months of the season, actually around the first half of the season, he really struggled at the plate. But he came into the ball game tonight. He has fought his way all the way back to 257, and he's 1 for 1 in this ball game. Sack bunt in his first at bat tonight.
Not unusual for a player in his first year as a free agent to press early on. Jose Lopez goes too far on that breaking pitch. He's in the hole 0-1. We've seen it all over baseball. When a guy signs a new contract with a new team as a free agent, it seems as though he puts too much pressure on himself and gets off to a slow start.
Tries to do too much instead of just continue to do what you've always done, and that's get on base and steal bases. He's done that very well. He's stolen 40 on the season.
But they've got to stop these two. They can both run. Dubczynski just didn't let the ball go.
He forgot to throw it.
That's a balk, obviously. But Mark Dubczynski, I don't know what he was thinking about. He's going in to talk to John Buck. I've seen a lot of things in baseball. I haven't seen this before.
Well, he goes into his delivery and just decides, I'm not going to throw this one. He must have not been really committed to the pitch he wanted to throw, so he's going to call Buck out and say, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah. And Cito Gaston has seen a lot of things, and I'm sure he hadn't seen that before.
You can read his lips there. He said, you got to be kidding me.
Second and third now. That eliminates any chance of a double play to get out of the inning. Lopez drove in the Mariners' run with a single into right his first time up. When you think about run production, this team has really challenged. The leader of the team in RBIs has 58.
And a little visit out to the mound by John Buck again after that last pitch. It almost Seems as if a little confusion between Buck and Zepchinski.
0-2. Breaking ball hit to third. McDonald coming home. They have Ichiro in a rundown. Now Ichiro is tagged out. Good play by McDonald to save a run.
Well, a very good play by John McDonald. This was not as easy as he made it look. You've got great speed off of third base. The ball wasn't hit that hard, plus he had to range to his right. But watch how he gets around the baseball where he has some momentum going towards the plate, and that made the difference in this play. And then, of course, at that point is an easy rundown for John Buck.
John McDonald does something every day that impresses you, no matter where he's playing on the field, no matter what he's doing with the bat. And even though his playing time might be intermittent, he is well prepared. 2 outs, runners at the corners. Justin Smoke makes a breaking ball for a strike.
Well, he really does, and he did a great job to get around that ball where he had his momentum going towards the plate. If he tries to backhand it, no chance to get Ichiro. And now a chance for Zepchinski to get out of this unscathed.
Oh, and 2.
And it doesn't seem like much, but it's just the little things and the effort that he puts into everyday preparation that sometimes can determine the outcome of a game. It's not something that shows up as a stat, but it's very, very important.
Off the end of the bat. That's a fair ball. Overbay takes it and will tag Smoke out. And Zepchinski does get out of the inning. The Mariners strand a pair. Good defense behind Zepchinski. McDonald made a good play to the plate.
Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Jose Bautista takes an inside pitch for a strike. Bautista singled and scored in the first. Pulls his hands back from a fastball, 1-1. Pops this one up behind home plate. Adam Moore flips the mask. Makes the catch. Bautista's retired. 1 out. Yankees beat the Rays last night at Yankee Stadium 8-6. Take a 1.5 lead in the American League East. Tonight, James Shields up against Phil Hughes. Yankees have taken an early lead, 5-1, top of the second. Nick Swisher with his 27th home run, a solo shot. Lance Berkman drove in 2 with a double. And Matt Joyce has hit a solo home run for Tampa Bay. Vernon Wells, his 28th home run this season. Came in the first. Whoa. Kind of came out of nowhere.
It definitely wasn't going to leave the park with that one. Trying to go in, the ball's up and in, right over the top of his head. I don't think there was any intention with that pitch. It just got away from him.
Vernon Wells lines it to center. Saunders is there and makes the catch. 2 outs. Well, Overbay will hit with 2 down. Overbay walked his first time up. Overbay at 249. That's a plateau he'd like to get over. Hit 250 at least. Go along with those 19 homers and 63 driven in. Luke French hit him.
Number 14, John.
You can win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
French just lost his command bit. That's the 4th batter he's hit this year. He threw one over Vernon Wells' helmet in his at-bat. John Buck drives it to left, but that's going to hang up for Langerhans, and he makes the catch, and the Blue Jays strand the base runner. We have played 3 innings here at Rogers Center. Blue Jays have hit 2 more home runs. They lead 3-1.
The game for Rance Molyneux. Tori M asks, after playing for Cito for so long, do you have any particular favorite memories of him as a manager?
Boy, there's a lot of them, but the one that really came back to me this afternoon was in '89. After a couple of days after he was named manager of the ball club, taking over for Jimmy Williams, and we had been terrible today. I think we were 12-24 at the time. He held a team meeting and very simply said, look, the worst thing they can do to me is fire me and send me home. And he said, all of us in that room, that's the worst thing that can happen, is they send us all home. He said, they can't put us against a wall and shoot us. And from that point on, I think we had the best record in baseball for the remainder of the '89 season. You'd have to say he's very successful as a Jays manager throughout his entire career. But that's the one that really kind of came to me this afternoon. And he really had his hands around the overall IQ in the room by the way he presented that as well.
The Jays would go on to win the East in 1989. Ryan Langerhans chases a breaking ball, first out in the fourth. The thing about Cito Gaston, and I first met him in '82 when he came over as Bobby Cox's hitting coach, and I think the one thing, obviously he wasn't much older than I was, so we had a lot in common, a lot of players we played against, but he was always a guy that wanted to see what you were as a hitter before he started to tinker with you. I think he took that same approach as a manager. He always said he wasn't going to rush players and try to turn them around before he found out what they could or couldn't do. That has served him very well. And you know, the one thing I think that he has done with this team, and he's always been great with hitters, you know that very well, but I think he's handled the pitching staff very well. I think he's really brought these starters along very effectively. There's a bouncing ball up the middle. Escobar, easy play for him. Gun to first, 2 down.
Well, Buck, last weekend you talked about Bobby Cox going on a road trip and getting the water cannon salute. Cito Gaston received that very same thing as Toronto's team charter plane came home from Boston on Sunday night. Fire trucks on either side of the Blue Jays Air Canada plane shooting water in order to salute Cito here in his final season as the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays.
That's quite an honor to have that kind of reception. The airlines hold that kind of salute to acknowledge retired pilots and to break out new airplanes. And for Bobby Cox and Cito Gaston to receive that kind of salute is a testimony to just what of an impact they've had.
He's always, for me, he's always had a very good feel. He understands people and human nature. And that's the way he makes his decisions in dealing with people on a day-to-day basis. He always factors in what you're struggling with. Do you need a pat on the bat, or do you?
Another good breaking ball from Zebchinski. Saunders goes down. A very quick inning for Mark Zebchinski. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth. Blue Jays up by 2.
Inning, someone will win a 40-inch Sharp Aquos Quatron TV Plus Blu-ray player. Quatron is 4 colors, not 3. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. That's hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Stay tuned. The Blue Jays already have 2 of them here tonight.
Aaron Hill takes an inside fastball from Luke French. Hill popped up his first time up. Hill has 24 home runs. He trails only Robinson Cano in home runs by a second baseman. He pops this one up, this time on the third base side. Tuiasa Sopu over the bag into foul ground, makes the catch. 1 out. Edwin Encarnacion has hit one of the 2 home runs Blue Jays have pounded out tonight. His solo shot led off the second, his 15th home run of the season. Encarnacion had a 3-homer game in interleague play against the Diamondbacks. He and John Buck both hit 3 home runs in a game this season. Ball is off the end of the bat in center field. That's going to get in front of Michael Saunders, and fortunately he's a big guy because that ball almost bounced over his head. So Encarnacion has a blast and a bloop. 2 for 2 tonight.
Big swing right off the end of the bat.
John McDonald hit a ball to the gap in left center. It was caught by Longerhans. First pitch strike with the fastball. John McDonald was with the Cleveland Indians up until '05. He came over here with the Blue Jays, but Carl Willis, who was a coach with the Indians at the time, is now the pitching coach here with the Mariners. First thing he asked about when he hit the field today is, where's Johnny Mack? He's got that kind of reputation. Anybody that's been around him, anybody that's watched him play, understands how much he puts into every day. And certainly as a pitching coach, Carl Willis understands the value of a guy like John McDonald. Pops this one up foul territory over near the Mariners dugout. Moore can't make a play. Had a little more room than he thought he had. That ball hit on the warning truck just in front of the dugout.
Not familiar with this ballpark and not understanding how much foul ground there is. You'll see right here, he'll pull up and give up on the pop-up because he thinks it's on top of the dugout. But that's one that if he stays with, he would have been able to make the catch.
Ball and 2 strikes to McDonald. 1 out. Blue Jays lead 3-1. They've hit 2 home runs here tonight. Changeup bounced in the dirt. Another pop-up back out of play. McDonald is starting at third base tonight. Encarnacion is the DH with the left-hander French on the mound. Adam Lynn is out of the lineup. Cedar Gaston continues to manipulate third base, DH, and the outfield. On the ground to third. Booted by Tuiasa Sopu. Recovers in time to get McDonald. That was a double play ball that Tuiasa Sopu rushed and bobbled, and he could only get one.
It looked like this last hop, the ball had a lot of top spin, maybe came up on him just a little bit, hit him in the heel of the glove, and he's not able to handle it cleanly, but able to stay with it, get the out at first base. But you're right, this definitely should have been a double play.
Two outs. Encarnacion at second.
Boy, Travis Snyder's hit into tough luck tonight. He lined out, was robbed of a base hit in his first at bat. Diving stop by Figgins, and then lined out to left field. In the second inning, hit the ball very hard twice. Nothing to show for it.
Outside. Ball on the strike. see French throw hard. Has to rely an awful lot on his command. He grew up in Colorado and actually was a fan of the Seattle Mariners. In particular, Ken Griffey Jr. A good breaking ball sailed away from Snyder.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. When he was in the 5th grade, he wrote out a future timeline. And part of that was he wanted to be a Seattle Mariner and be able and have the opportunity to play with Ken Griffey Jr. And he has had the opportunity to do both. So it's interesting. Even as a very young boy, he knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to pitch in the big leagues and have a chance to play with Junior.
That ball had hit a ton, center field and deep. Saunders back. This ball is gone. Home run, Travis Snyder. His 10th of the season. They couldn't catch that one.
No, you can't catch this one unless you buy a ticket. And you're a fan here this evening, but this ball no doubt was gone the moment that Travis Snyder hit it. But you go back to the ball that should have been an inning-ending double play, has now cost the Mariners 2 more runs.
Defense so important. That extra pitch, extra batter proves costly. Escobar down the left field line. Wilson in fair territory. Longerhans runs into him, but the shortstop holds on. The Mariners are out of the inning, but Travis Snyder has gone deep. 3rd home run for the Jays tonight. 5-1 Blue Jays. Gives him 10 home runs on the season. Blue Jays have 9 players with double-digit home runs. Sano Gaston had talked about that way back in spring training. He said, I think this club's going to hit some homers. Did they ever?
Well, and again, the ball that McDonald hit to Tuiasosopo that would have been and should have been an inning double play, couldn't handle it cleanly, was able to get the force out, get the 1 out at first base, but that gave Snyder a chance to hit.
By those extra outs, the extra hitters that come up in an inning force a pitcher to throw his 21st, 22nd, 23rd pitch of an inning when they're best at 18 or so, proves costly. Zepchinski's got a good breaking ball working tonight, and he's been in the zone enough to force the Mariners to chase.
When you pitch ahead in the count, you can start the breaking ball just in the zone and let it finish out, and you'll get a lot of those types of results. But you have to be ahead in the count to get that type of swing. But sometimes for a pitcher, when what should have been a double play that ends the inning for you, sometimes maybe you have a little bit of a mental lapse. You think, I should be out of the inning. that leads to a mistake and it costs you a couple more runs. Maybe that was the case there in the 4th inning for Luke French.
French, a first-year starter, could have been affected in that fashion, but that's something you have to learn with experience.
But you talked about it, you know, the good ball clubs. You talked about the Yankees, the Rays, the Minnesota Twins, and the way they play defense and how critical it is, and a great example in the 4th inning.
A ball and 2 strikes on the Mariners shortstop, Josh Wilson. Blue Jays out in front 5-1. Another good breaking ball, another strikeout, number 6 for Zebczynski.
You could win an all-new Honda CRZ and other great prizes when you vote for the Honda Play of the Month. Vote today at BlueJays.com.
2 outs, back to the top of the order. Blue Jays haven't been able to get Ichiro out yet tonight. 2 more hits tonight. He's up to 195 hits. Another infield hit for Ichiro.
54 on the season now. He has 195 total.
He's like a magician. Just hit it where there's a hole. 3rd hit of the night. Ichiro has 196 hits, just 4 away from 200.
Another breaking ball, and the hands stay back. You know, you almost do him a favor throwing him something off speed at times, unless you get it well down and out of the strike zone. I think sometimes if you just stay hard on the hands and anything you throw off speed, make sure you get it off the plate away from him, you might have some success, but no set way to pitch him and get him out consistently.
2 outs. Sean Figgins takes the ball. There's a similarity, and you're going to look at me cross-eyed, I know you are, between Ichiro's swing and Vladdy Guerrero's swing in the way the bat stays in the zone so long. Obviously 2 types of hitters, but the extension through the zone is remarkably similar. The way he drives that bat all the way through the zone and just stays on the ball.
And both of them have the unique gift of great hand-eye coordination. They don't swing and miss a lot. They make contact. And not only does that lead to base hits, but oftentimes it keeps an at-bat alive, where you get to see another pitch and maybe the next one's a mistake or something you can do something with. Here you get another look at this swing. Yeah, he gets out on the front foot, which he always does, but the hands stay back. And he's just able to throw the barrel of the bat at the baseball.
Over 3,500 hits now if you combine his record in Japan with what he's done here in the major leagues. Zebczynski now 3-1 count to Sean Figgin.
He almost gives you the impression of that when he wants to keep his hands inside the baseball and literally almost at times jam himself a little bit and slap that ball through the left side or dump it into the outfield, and then at times when he wants to roll that top hand over and hook it.
A 2-out walk, second and third, first and second with 2 outs. Figgins on board for the second time. Jose Lopez tonight as the DH.
Well, the Mariners tonight have a total of 5 hits. Ichiro has 3. Figgins 1, Lopez 1.
Breaking ball. Zebczynski jumps ahead.
Go back to Ichiro for just a moment. He leads me to believe that if he went into a game and said, I want to hit every ball to the right side tonight, he could do it, and just the exact opposite. If he wanted to hit everything from the shortstop over to the left field line tonight in all 4 or 5 at-bats, he could do it.
And he's patient enough to wait to get a pitch that he can do it with. When he first came to the Mariners, he bunted a little bit more, and he was a step faster, and we played against him and had to play the defense at double play depth all the time because he could hit a routine grounder to the shortstop and beat it out. Ball and a strike to Jose Lopez.
And if you were ever able as a fan to come to the ballpark and watch him take batting practice, it's the complete opposite of what you see in the game. He hits balls 440 feet out of the ballpark. But since leaving Japan in 01, 331, that's second best in the major leagues over that span. Runs 6, hits first, 382 stolen bases. There's not anything that he can't do on a baseball field.
Breaking ball fouled at the plate. Ichiro was 27 years old when he came to the Mariners. He'd already established himself as a star in Japan.
And they moved him from center to right, and that's not a reflection on his ability to play center field. It felt like he had to cover so much ground in center. It took a little bit out of him as far as, he's not a big physical guy. Maybe it caused a little fatigue and led to a little bit of struggles offensively.
With a base hit into center field. Ichiro with a quick turn around third. He'll score. Sean Figgins is going to third. The throw is offline. But aggressive running by Figgins as he goes first to third on the base hit by Lopez. Ichiro scores. It's a 5-2 game.
Well, a pretty good at bat. Ball's not hit hard, but in a good spot right back up the middle. Escobar could not make the play. Ichiro's going to score easily, but right here at that point, it looked like Wells took it for granted that Figgins was going to stop. The ball was fairly shallow. He didn't anticipate him moving over to third. Here's Ichiro. There's going to be no problem for him to score with his speed. But it looked as if Wells got caught a little bit flat-footed, and that allowed Figgins to move to third.
Runners at the corners now. Figgins with his good speed challenged Wells and made it to third. Lopez drives in his second run of the night. Dug out by Buck.
Well, Figgins always looking to take advantage. And watch Wells in center field. He does a nice job. He hustles in. He gets to the ball quickly. But right here, just eases up just a little bit. Nonchalant, anticipating that Figgins was not going to run. He never broke stride, and he's into third base.
Ball and a strike to Smoke. Bounced foul. This is such a tough game. You let up for an instant. Good players like Figgins will take advantage of you. And remember, Sean Figgins grew up playing under Mike Scioscia. And they always went first to third. Angels were the best at it.
That's an excellent point.
Strike three call. Smoke goes down. Backdoor pitch gets him. Zepchinski has struck out 7. But the Mariners cut into the lead. Jose Bautista will lead things off when we come back to Rogers Center looking for number 50. Jose Bautista will lead things off. Lots of fans anxiously awaiting a souvenir in the left field seats. Well, Luke French has thrown him an assortment of off-speed pitches. You made a great point about his patience, and he is on the verge of hitting his 50th home run, but he hasn't given up his plate discipline. Pops this ball into right. Ichiro now backs up a couple of steps. 1 out. But Ichiro made an easy play. Bautista, as we mentioned, gets a lot of off-speed pitches now, and the home run he hit on Saturday against Josh Beckett was a breaking ball. And he has to really gear down and not anticipate fastballs as frequently as he got them early in the year. 1 out, Vernon Wells. On the ground, left side. Deep, and no chance for Wilson. Looked like Tuiasa Sopu kind of deked Wilson like he was going to go after it and then pulled the glove back, and that really messed up the shortstop.
Well, it looked as if Tuiasa Sopu was going to make the play. He got to the baseball, at least initially in our first look. It appeared that he did. Right here, all he's got to do is just extend a little bit, and he can maybe make the play. And, of course, that would have been a distraction for the shortstop, Wilson.
Wilson is charged with an error. That's a tough error. I don't think he would have thrown Vernon Wells out from where he was when he made contact. He was deep. He was behind the line.
And he was flat-footed, because I think he had momentarily given up on the play, thought Tuiasa Sopu was going to make it. That is one that may be changed, because he was not going to throw Wells out.
Now here's another situation we saw earlier in the game when Tuiasa Sopu had a chance to end the 4th inning. Ground ball to third. He bobbled it. All he could do is get McDonald at first. On that play, he makes that play. Wells is off the bases, and there are 2 outs. Now you force French into more pitches and give Overbay another chance to hit with a man on.
Well, Tuiasa Sopu just doesn't look like he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. Seems a little bit tentative, not only defensively but at the plate as well. He's just really struggling.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. 5th inning. Popped up third base. Now Sopu into foul ground. Overbay's retired, 2 down. When you look at third base and realize Tuiasa Sopu making just his 9th start of the season there. Timing's an issue. Seattle hasn't played many games on this artificial surface. The balls get to you a little quicker. Lopez has played third base every day. He just gets the day off tonight as the DH. John Buck singled to left and lined out to the left fielder. It's going to drift back into the seats and out of play.
Well, we've both been there when you go through a tough, you struggle and you lose a little bit of your confidence, and it takes a little while to get it back. And sometimes the best way to do that is at least have the opportunity to go back out there on a consistent basis so that you can figure some things out.
Two balls and a strike. Everybody goes through those stretches where all you can think about is, please don't hit it to me. Because I'm not feeling real sure about it right now. Get back behind the plate and you think, if he runs, I'm liable to throw it in right center. Cute off the end of the bat. But everybody goes through it. You can't help but go through it. You play 100 games a year, 125, 30 games a year. You're going to have some moments where doubt creeps into your mind. We saw it with John Buck early in the year. Balls in the dirt. They were going by him left and right. He made some dramatic adjustments and really did a heck of a job the rest of the way. Aaron Hill's had some rough days defensively in the field.
Well, everybody, excuse me, Buck, everybody talks about the you get into a slump offensively at the plate, but sometimes you get into a little bit of a defensive slump. And for a week or 10 days, you really struggle defensively. You just feel a little bit out of sync, and you just have to grind your way through it, put in some extra work, and get back on track.
Driven to right, but that's going to slice out of play.
You know, sometimes out there on the infield, if you're not set and in a position to move right or left or forward if you need be as the ball's going through the hitting zone, if you're a little late getting your feet set, something like that can throw you off. You just don't get the jump. You end up with an in-between hop.
Off-speed pitch. John Buck goes down swinging. Blue Jays strand the base runner. French gets out of the fifth. Blue Jays leading 5-2 after 5.
And it's the Jays against the Yankees. The first 35,000 fans will receive a commemorative ticket honoring Cito's career with the Blue Jays. Joe Carter and Pat Henkin will be on hand. So come out and say thank you to Cito Wednesday, September 29th. BlueJays.com, most Rogers Plus locations, or 416-341-1234, your place to get tickets for that one.
Going to be an interesting night. That final Wednesday of the home schedule. Cito Gaston will say goodbye to the Toronto fans for the last time as the manager. And I've got to believe that that's going to be a tough night for him. He has had such a great relationship with this organization and this community. Langerhans pops it up into center field. 1 out. Come back and join us tomorrow night. Tune in on the second game of this series. Kyle Drabeck will make his first big league start in Toronto at Rogers Center. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West and Pacific. Kyle Drabeck's home debut for the Blue Jays. Kyle Drabeck held his own in his first start, came in Baltimore. His father, Doug Drabeck, was in attendance, got a chance to see his kids work out of a first inning jam. He allowed 1 run in the first inning, had a 1-2-3 second inning, and overall pretty good start to his big league career.
I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to see him pitch tomorrow evening.
0-2. Bounced on the ground. I think a lot of people are, and you know, Kyle's pretty well grounded. He's already had Tommy John surgery. So here's a question for you, Mr. Baseball. If you have a young pitcher that's already had Tommy John surgery, do you shut him down? He went through Tommy John surgery early in his career. And now he's back, and you know, he talked about his summer, and he really gave a lot of credit to the training staff in the minor leagues for keeping him in great shape. He says he feels as good now as he did in spring training. That's a base hit to center field. Adam Moore has his first hit of the night.
Well, you want the standard nuance answer to that question?
Okay.
I think you handle everybody has to be dealt with a little bit differently, I think, individually speaking, because some guys are just kind of naturally bigger and stronger and maybe more durable, or respond a little more quickly, progress a little bit, come along a little quicker after surgery than others. You just have to take each individual and go from there. I don't think you put everybody in the same box and treat everybody the same.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think every individual is different. Certainly Brandon Morrow was shut down early on. But Ricky Mario continues to build up his innings, as does Sean Markham. 0-2. Zebczynski gets out in front of Michael Saunders. Brian Talent, the big left-hander, loosening up. Art Zebczynski with a very good outing here tonight. 7 strikeouts for Zebczynski. Make it 8. Good breaking ball. He's had that breaking ball all night long, and it's really baffled the bottom of the order. 6 of the 8 strikeouts have come in the bottom third of their lineup.
And when we saw him in Anaheim, when he had that great start, it was the sinking fastball that he used to both sides of the plate that was really his go-to pitch. That one right there has been his go-to pitch this evening, is the good breaking ball. He's had very good command and it's had good life.
Big bouncer to shortstop. Escobar in time to get to Iyasu. Mark Zebczynski has another good inning. He strands a base runner. Blue Jays lead it by 3.
Twitter trivia question of the game. And the question is, how many home runs did the Blue Jays hit in the 2000 season when they set the franchise record? Make sure you contact us at twitter.com/Blue Jays, and you'll have a chance to win some great prizes. How many home runs did the Jays hit in the 2000 season when they set the franchise record?
Aaron Hill has been part of that with his 24 home runs. I'll tell you this, the Blue Jays are well within striking distance of that record. Change up. 2-0. Blue Jays have now hit 232 home runs with 3 more homers tonight. Pop this one up. Right to the mound. Pitcher calling for it. And French makes the catch. Ball wasn't hit that high, and the corner infielders didn't have a chance to get to it, so the French made the catch. Aaron Hill's popped up 3 times tonight. 5-2 Blue Jays late at bottom of the 6th inning. Edwin Encarnacion's 2 for 2 tonight. He scored 2 runs and homered. He pops this one up. Luke French said, "Don't try me too often, boys." Now Tuiasa Sopu comes in and makes the catch behind the mound. Luke French was hanging out over the mound for a while, but that was a little too tall for him.
Yeah. Either that or someone ran him off of it. But this one was skied. Here's a great look at French. He's looking around. Somebody please help him. Somebody call me off this ball. And the third baseman takes charge there late and makes the play. But you could see it was almost like, come on, guys. Somebody say something.
French was a first baseman. Played amateur ball as a first baseman as well, so he was pretty comfortable. But that second pop-up was a bit higher than the first. John McDonald with the ball on the strike. 2 outs, 6th inning. Three and 1. Travis Snyder's on deck. He has hit the ball hard 3 times tonight, including a 2-run home run back in the 4th. His 10th of the season. John McDonald lines it to the third baseman. Another hard hit ball, but right at the third baseman. Luke French has a 1-2-3 6th.
Well, in the 4th inning on a ground ball that should have been an inning double play. Tuiasa Sopo not handling it cleanly. That gave Travis Snyder a chance to hit the bottom of the 4th. The result, a 2-run home run. That made it 5-1 Jays at the time.
Visit BlueJays.com/Burger King to register for a chance to win prizes with the Burger King Super Fan Contest. That extra out proved costly. It got Travis Snyder to the plate with 2 down. And he took advantage of it to hit a 2-run homer. Josh Wilson has struck out twice. Good turnaround start for Mark Zebchinski. We kind of saw this coming last time out when he pitched against the Orioles. And a little bit better outing. 5 innings, 6 hits, allowed just 2 earned runs. That's popped up into shallow right field. Hill's out from second base and makes the catch. Good play. Bautista wasn't going to get to that ball.
No, Bautista was not going to be able to make the play, but Hill, with a good jump and a good route. A real good look at it here. He gets an excellent jump. Runs pretty much a straight line from where he was at to where the baseball came down. Nice play. Another angle.
Ichiro Suzuki shows bunt, something he doesn't do that often. 3 for 3 tonight. Suzuki's average up 3 points from the start of the game at 314. Sean Kemp now has gotten up and starts to loosen up. Ryan Talent was up earlier. He sits down, turns things over to Kemp.
And I mentioned that Suzuki's walked just 42 times on the season. And he feels like, as a hitter, no hitter should ever walk to the plate looking for a base on balls. He feels like your job is to hit. So he likes to swing the bat. And just as I say that, he walks.
1 out walk here in the 7th. Commentator clothing provided in part by Z Senya. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc. Music provided by Universal Canada. A beautiful evening here in Toronto. Rogers Center roof is open. Summer is winding down. This is the last homestand of the 2010 schedule. It'll be the Mariners for 3, the Orioles in for 3, and then the Yankees Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Next Wednesday, September 29th, is Thank You Cedar Night. New York Yankees are in town, their final appearance at Rogers Center. And an opportunity for all you fans to come down and participate in the Thank You Cedar Night for a great man acknowledging a great career. And right on cue, here comes Cito Gaston, who's made the call to the bullpen. So Cito Gaston has called to the bullpen. He had Sean Kemp ready. Mark Sepchinski did a good job tonight. He'll turn the ball over to Cito Gaston. Sean Figgins is the scheduled batter. And Sepchinski leaves the game with 8 strikeouts. He has a 3-run lead. He'll turn things over to Sean Kemp in the bullpen from here on out. Beautiful night here in Toronto. Blue Jays are up 5-2. Sean Kemp, the new pitcher. This pitching change is brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Sean Kemp has been outstanding this season. 2.91 ERA pitching out of the bullpen. Walked just 17 and 68 2/3 innings, 43 strikeouts. Excellent sinker, slider, and change.
Missed with the first pitch fastball. Sean Figgins will bat from the left side for the first time tonight.
And it's interesting with one out here in the top of the 7th. Zebchinski was, his last outing was better than it's been. A good solid outing here tonight. And after he walked Ichiro, here that Cito Gaston felt like, let's let him finish on a very positive here this evening. He's done a nice job for us. Chance to win this ball game and really take a positive into his next start.
Yeah, he did the same thing last time out when he lifted him after 5 innings. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. Been a real tough stretch for Mark Zebchinski over his last 6 starts. So tonight, Cito Gaston has a lead here in the 7th inning, and after the 1-out walk to Ichiro, decided to go to the bullpen and put Zebchinski in a position where he can do nothing but win. A win or a no decision. A ball and 2 strikes. Lifted down the left side, but slicing into foul ground. Sean Figgins, 244 as a left-handed hitter. That's why Cito Gaston chose to turn him around in this situation for the season. He's at 287 as a right-handed hitter. You see, Figgins took that one little look at Overbay to see him at first base holding Ichiro on, see what kind of big hole he had to shoot for on the right side.
Sometimes if you try to pull a sinking ball pitcher like Kemp, you feed right into his hand, you get that nice double play ground ball to the second baseman. Ichiro is obviously not elected to try to run off of first base to get into scoring position.
And breaking ball is pulled foul.
Probably he's thinking maybe along the lines that Figgins is, that big hole over there, let me leave it open for him. See if maybe we can take advantage of it with his speed. If the ball's not hit real hard on the ground through the right side, he's going to be able to move all the way over to third.
Kind of interesting. Figgins has grounded into 17 double plays. You wouldn't think the number would be quite so high.
Especially considering his speed and the fact that most of the time you face more right-handed pitching than you do left-handed pitching. So the majority of his at-bats coming from the left side, where he's a step closer to first base. And that field in Seattle doesn't exactly play real fast.
There's a ground ball. Hill to his knees in time to get Figgins. Aaron Hill, good range to his left. Ichiro moves up on the 4-3 putout.
Well, Figgins almost able to take advantage of the big hole on the right side. Even though this ball's not hit real hard, quite a ways for Hill to go, but able to make the play.
Jose Lopez has driven in both runs tonight for Seattle. Boy, after the top 3 in this order, there's not a whole lot of offensive threat in this lineup.
For the second time in this inning, Aaron Hill with a nice defensive play. Nice running catch on a pop-up by Josh Wilson to start the inning. Let's see, Ichiro's been on 4 times. Figgins twice. Ichiro scored twice. But aside from those 2 at the top of the lineup, although Lopez does have a RBI single in this ballgame, no offense to speak of at all.
Change up, misses outside, a ball on the strike. Top of the 7th inning. Seattle jumped out in front with a run in the first. Vernon Wells erased that deficit with a 2-run home run bottom of the first. The Blue Jays have been out in front ever since. Well, that sinking fastball ran right in on the hands of Lopez.
And that's where the shin guard may have saved him. Where's it down? Just right there. You get a look at it. Looked like that last pitch, he fouled it right off that guard, shin guard.
And does a good job of staying alive. He got that breaking ball pretty well. Did you ever wear a shin guard? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did from time to time. Not all the time like some hitters do, but I usually found, believe it or not, if I wasn't swinging the bat very well and I was rolling over on a lot, that's when I would need it. If I was swinging the bat pretty good, I was letting the ball get deep into this, let the ball travel a little bit, and I didn't have such a tendency to foul it off my shin.
I never wore one. Didn't hit the ball hard enough. Figured if I fouled it off, it wasn't going to hurt that much anyway. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 out. Ichiro at second base. Good breaking ball. Lopez strikes out. Sean Kemp comes in, inherits a runner, and strands him. Blue Jays are out in front 5-2. Jose Bautista will bat third, bottom of the 7th. Batter 1 for 3, a 2-run home run in the 4th. Number 10 for Snyder.
Hit the ball hard all 3 times tonight. Robbed in his first at bat. Lining out to second. Lined out hard to left.
One and 2, cut on and miss. Strike 3. Snyder goes down swinging.
Twitter trivia question of the game was, how many home runs did the Blue Jays hit in 2000 when they set the franchise record? The answer is 244 at Power of Giggle or Kathy Berry from London, Ontario. Congratulations. You are our winner of our Twitter question of the game. For your win in this, you will receive a Vernon Wells autograph bat. Congratulations, Kathy.
Good job, Kathy. Blue Jays just 12 off their franchise mark for home runs in a season. Bounced sharply to short. Josh Wilson on the money. 2 down.
Right field, number 19, Jose Bautista.
Bautista's really loading up on that back leg. He has seen nothing but off-speed pitches tonight.
Well, they've really tried to mix it up. His first at bat, that's all he saw until he got 3-0. They threw him a fastball and he hit it hard into left field for his only hit this evening. Second at bat, they got a fastball in his hands, but for the most part.
Look out. Fair ball down the left field line. Bautista around first. He's headed for second. Oh, almost gets by Sean Figgins. The barrel of that bat ended up against the wall. In foul ground, Bautista gets his second hit. It's a double down the left field line.
Well, they pump him up by going in on his hands in his second at bat. Try to go back in hard, but he pulls his hands in. Couldn't tell if he hit that off the end of the bat, maybe down towards the handle a little bit, but he's so strong, he's able to muscle it down into the corner for a double. And boy, those bats shattering flying around like that, they're dangerous.
Well, Tyler Colvin of the Cubs was impaled by a similar bat head while running the bases. Brendan Wells pops up the first pitch. Moore over in front of the dugout makes the catch. Blue Jays are retired. Bautista with a double, but he is stranded at second. We'll go to the 8th inning. Toronto leads 5-2. Has come in to work the 8th inning. Sean Camp retired the two batters he faced. He got Sean Figgins to ground out and struck out Jose Lopez to end the 7th.
Well, the bullpen depth. You bring in Camp to get you through the 7th. You bring in Downs, who's been very, very good. 56 in the 3rd innings, just 46 hits, 44 strikeouts. An ERA of 2.88. Scott Downs in here for a hold in the 8th inning to get you to your closer, Kevin Gregg, in the 9th.
Broken bat, grounded to third. John McDonough. One pitch, one out.
When you get good starting pitching that gets you in deep into the ball game, get you into that 7th, when you have a good bullpen like the Jays do with a lot of depth down there, boy, you can really set it up if you're the manager just like you want to finish off the game. And so far here tonight, it's been the textbook.
Any manager in baseball will tell you, you give them 18 to 21 outs and they'll take that from a starter every night. Ryan Longerhans is 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout. Cuts on the first pitch. Overbay deep at first base. The underhand toss. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Overbay made the play of the game way back in the 2nd inning in my mind on defense when he started the 3-6-3 double play off the bat of Michael Saunders. After the leadoff walk to Adam Moore, Overbay made a fine defensive play and got Sebczynski into a good situation early.
Boy, defense at first base oftentimes gets overlooked.
2 outs. The catcher, Adam Moore, singled his last time up.
But you have to hold runners. Sometimes you have to start the double play. You're involved, obviously, in bunt situations, bunt defense. You're the cutoff man on balls hit to right and to center. And, of course, oftentimes you got to help those infielders out, digging out a tough throw. You take it for granted until you put somebody over there at first base that's not quite as good as a Lyle Overbay, and you really notice it very quickly.
Little tapper up the first baseline. Downs is a good fielder. Quick inning by Scott Downs. Took 5 pitches for Downs to get out of the 8th. That's pretty economical. 5-2 Blue Jays. The Blue Jays got to him for 3 home runs, and that's the difference in this ballgame.
Yes, it is. Luke French did a pretty good job, as you mentioned, settling down. His last 3 innings, 5th, 6th, and 7th, were shutout innings for him. Garrett Olson enters the ball game, giving up just a little bit better than a hit per inning of work. He's walked 14, struck out 26, has an ERA 4.45 in the league, hitting .258 against him.
Boys on the dugout bench. Jared Hoffbauer unaware that he has been the victim of a prank.
Absolutely clueless.
Bouncing ball, second baseman Sean Figgins waits on it. Overbay is retired on 1 pitch. Everybody on the bench going, don't you know you have a bubble on your hat?
Straight face, but laughing on the inside.
Oh, absolutely. John Buck hitting with 1 out. Buck is singled in 3 at-bats. John Buck, a very good .271 average to go along with his power numbers. Average to go up point. Sharply hit into center.
Well, John Buck with his 2nd hit in the ball game this evening. Boy, he's been solid offensively. He finally found it. And now everybody will have a laugh.
Dwayne Wise said, it wasn't me. I promise, it wasn't me.
Blame it on the cameraman.
Martin did it.
Buck now hitting .273 on the season.
There's a drive down the left field line. This ball is hooking into the seats.
And he's been pretty consistent with his power numbers as well. He's hit 18 home runs, 60 50 RBIs. Really had a solid season offensively, has John Buck.
Well, you talk to Bruce Walton and Rick Langford, the pitching coaches, and they will tell you just how important John Buck has been. Off the end of the bat, shortstop, second base one, back to first, not in time. Aaron Hill bounces into the 6-4 fielder's choice, legs out the ball, beats it at first.
Well, the ball not hit real hard. The third baseman, shortstop Wilson, having to range to his right. Very good feed to the second baseman Figgins, who does a great job to get rid of it quickly. But Hill arrives just before the baseball at first base to keep the inning alive.
First pitch changeup is downstairs. Garrett Olson, a supplemental sandwich pick in 2005 by the Baltimore Orioles. The ball hit to short. Wilson, long throw to first base with plenty on it. He gets Encarnacion. Blue Jays strand another base runner, but we have played 8 complete. Blue Jays with a 3-run lead. It'll be the big closer, Kevin Gregg, looking for save number 34. Save on Saturday against the Red Sox, worked an inning, gave up 2 hits and nothing more. 57th appearance, 33 of 38 for Kevin Gregg.
Well, he's done an outstanding job at the back end of the bullpen, being a closer for the Jays this year. His 33 saves establishes a new career high for Kevin Gregg. He had 32 for the Florida Marlins in 2007. So been very, very good for the Jays.
Off the end of the bat, John McDonald quickly in from third. High throw on the money. 1 out.
Well, we're just about at the close of this Blackberry Tweeting Tuesdays, but there is one more remaining on the schedule. That's next Tuesday, September 28th, when the Jays take on the Yankees, interact with the Blue Jays and the Sportsnet broadcast team during the game, with plenty of prizes to be won. Call 416-341-1234. Check out BlueJays.com or most Rogers Plus locations for tickets.
1 out. Popped up. Escobar calling for it in shallow center. Pulls out of the way. Snyder called him off, and it falls untouched. Escobar was camped under it, heard the outfielder come on and pulled out of the way, and Snyder couldn't make the play.
Well, this is just The lack of communication, or Travis Snyder trying to make a play on a ball that he should have let the shortstop handle. Right here, you get a good look at it. He throws the hands up. That lets the outfielders know that he's got the ball. He's camped. It looked like at the last minute Snyder ran him off of it, but then couldn't make the play. And really, if either one of the outfielders is going to take charge there, it would be Wells, the center fielder.
Escobar was under it. That'll go as a doubles for Tuiasa Sopu. Well, clearly that was a ball that Escobar could have made an easy play on. He was prepared to.
And actually, of everyone that potentially could have been involved in that play, Travis Snyder had further to go than either the shortstop or Wells, the center fielder.
Number 9 hitter Wilson with a 2-0 count. (3-0). Another good example of defense creating problems for your pitcher. Kevin Gregg thought he had second out of the inning in a very timely fashion. Now you got to deal with the top of the order. Ichiro's going to get a chance to hit at least.
Well, in this situation for Kevin Gregg, definitely, after falling behind 3-0, bounce back and make Wilson put the ball in play.
Oh, what a play by John McDonald. That saved a double for sure. Probably saved a run. Great reactions, and not only did he catch it, but he got to his feet looking for 2.
Now, this may have been the play that saves the day for the Jays. Just great reaction, lays that times his layout perfectly. Most certainly saved a run, and Wilson would have been at second base in scoring position for Ichiro. And you never know how it's going to play out. But that's the second time tonight in this ball game that defense on the part of John McDonald saved a run. He made a nice play. We forget to go to the plate to get that man right there in a rundown. That saved a run, and as it turned out, the Mariners would not score in that inning after having a great opportunity.
You just never get too much John McDonald, no matter where you play him. And like I said, not only did he snag the line drive, but he was thinking about doubling up the base runner at second. 2 balls and a strike, 2 down. Ichiro Suzuki, 3 more hits tonight. He's up to 196 for the season. Fouled out of play. Lou Piniella was Ichiro's first manager when he came to Seattle, and Piniella saw Ichiro slapping the ball, and says, man, do you ever pull the ball? Do you ever hit the ball hard? Next at bat, he hit one about 9 miles, and he came in and said, you mean like that? In perfect English. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's nobody that can spoil a good pitch as easily as Ichiro. A little bit like Rod Carew. How about Cecil Cooper? Same type of approach from time to time. Cooper was a much stronger hitter, of course, but he too had plate coverage like Ichiro.
Well, Cooper could have won a couple of batting titles, but he played with
Kevin Gregg off the mound, can't make a play. That could go as a base hit. That was going to be a tough play. Ichiro with great speed got out of the batter's box in timely fashion. Ichiro indeed has his 4th hit of the night.
Well, he always gets away real quick because of his style. He's kind of leaning towards first as he's swinging the bat, and he gets a great jump out of the box, and he can really go. Even though he's lost a step, he really gets down the line. That put a lot of pressure on Kevin Gregg, the pitcher. He knew he had to handle it cleanly and get rid of it very quickly. Ichiro now 4 for 4. Perfect night. 4 base hits and a walk.
197 hits for Ichiro. Sean Figgins.
But Cecil Cooper could have won a couple of batting championships, except for the fact he played when George Brett was in his prime and Wade Boggs was in his prime. remember one year he hit 352 and finished second to Brett, who hit 390.
Two balls and no strikes.
Well, in this situation, you'd think Kevin Gregg would just keep the ball away on the outer third to Figgins, let him hit the ball the other way as much as he wants to. The only chance he has to tie the game would be on a ball that's middle in. That'd be about the only pitch that he might have a chance to hit out of the ballpark. But one pitch away from loading the bases and giving Jose Lopez an opportunity.
Kevin Gregg could be out of the inning. The pop-up that fell for a double.
They should be out of the inning. And isn't it, we've talked about it a lot and it becomes redundant, but it is so true. Well, you give a team an extra out in an inning and it just seems like it leads to problems more often than not.
Taking all the way, full count. Mariners down to the last strike.
Well, that full count does a couple of things. You know, Ichiro's running off of first base, and of course Figgins with his speed. You know, you lose the force out at second base, puts a little more pressure on the defense on the infield. Not sure why Kevin Gregg did that. There's nobody holding Ichiro at first base. Even if he starts to break, there's nowhere to throw the ball. Maybe just not ready to throw the pitch yet.
Popped out of play. We'll do it again. Ichiro was up on the pitch. He'll return to first base. Matt Tuiasosopu's at third. He was credited with a double when his pop-up fell in center field. For Ichiro, his 4-hit night tonight. Only the 42nd time he's had 4 hits in a game.
You know, I am surprised a little bit. I know it's Figgins at the plate, but Wells and Schneider are very shallow. I think they might be playing a little deeper.
And that ball is going to be down in front of Bautista. Ichiro cruises to third. Tuiasosopu comes in to score. The tying runs are on base. Again, the Mariners should have been retired in this inning. The line drive caught by John McDonald should have been the third out.
Well, a good at bat after fighting off a couple of pitches finally pays off, gets a base hit. And now it really gets interesting because you have great speed at first base. Figgins has stolen 40 on the season. Boy, and this is an opportunity if he's ever going to run now, because if he could get into scoring position, then a base hit would tie the ball game. Obviously, it goes without saying the last thing you want to do is end the ball game getting thrown out trying to steal at second base. But
ball on a strike to Lopez. Lopez has 2 RBI tonight.
That's the way the Mariners have to play it, and of course that's a big part of Sean Figgins, his game, is the stolen base.
And there goes Figgins. The ball is popped down the third baseline. McDonald will watch it sail into the seats. Mason Frazier getting up. 9th inning. Again, the Mariners down to their final strike. Kevin Gregg looking for save number 34.
They try to throw that good hard slider and let it finish off the plate.
Upstairs, fouled out of play.
Well, he hung it and got away with it. Hung it too good. The ball was up just enough that Lopez couldn't get on top of it. Look, that's where they were trying to go. Started on that outer third and let it finish off the plate. See if you can get the weak ground ball or the strikeout.
Bounced foul. This is Gregg's first appearance since Saturday. Picked up the save in Saturday's game. Saved it for Ricky Romero. Pitched 1 inning through 25 pitches. Blue Jays had the Sunday game and a day off, so he's well rested. but he's certainly been asked to throw more pitches than he should have. A ball and 2 strikes. Cut on and missed. He got him. Strike 3. Kevin Gregg strands a couple of base runners and picks up his 34th save. Blue Jays win the opener 5-3. Mark Sepchinski with the win. 3 home runs again tonight for the Blue Jays.
Well, the Jays do what they do best. Hit home runs. They hit 3 in the ball game tonight. The big one was the 2-run shot by Snyder. Sepchinski with a solid outing. The bullpen very good again tonight to finish this ball game off. And a good way to start the homestand for the Jays.
First game of 9 at home here for the Blue Jays to wrap up the home schedule. We'll be right back here tomorrow night. Game 2 of this Mariner series. Thanks for watching.